Imagine biting into a perfectly toasted English muffin topped with savory Canadian ham, a perfectly poached egg, and a creamy, tangy homemade Hollandaise sauce sprinkled with dried parsley. This is the culinary journey we embark on today. We're diving into the world of Eggs Benedict, a timeless breakfast classic that has graced tables for decades. Originating from the streets of New York in the late 19th century, this dish has evolved into a breakfast staple worldwide. The symphony of flavors in this dish is something to behold. The crisp English muffin offers a delightful crunch, while the savory Canadian ham adds a depth of flavor. The poached egg, cooked to perfection, lends a richness, and the velvety Hollandaise sauce ties it all together with its creamy, tangy notes. To top it all off, a sprinkle of dried parsley adds a hint of freshness to this indulgent dish. Ready to bring this classic breakfast dish to your own kitchen? Stay tuned. Before firing up the stove, ensure you have all the necessary ingredients at hand. Let's run through them quickly. First on the list, we have English muffins. They'll serve as the sturdy base for our Eggs Benedict, providing a delightful crunch. Next up, eggs. Not only will we be poaching them, but we'll also use their yolks to whip up a rich, velvety Hollandaise sauce. Our protein of choice is Canadian ham, a lean yet flavorful alternative to traditional bacon. A squeeze of lemon will cut through the richness, and salted butter will lend our Hollandaise a creamy, luxurious texture. As for seasonings, we'll use salt and black pepper to enhance the natural flavors of our ingredients. Finally, a sprinkle of dried parsley will add a pop of color and a hint of freshness to our dish. Now that we have everything, it's time to start cooking. The first step is to cook the Canadian ham and toast the English muffins. Let's begin by heating a pan over medium heat. We want the pan to be hot, but not scorching. This is the key to getting that beautiful golden brown color on our ham and muffins. Once the pan is heated, it's time to add in a combination of olive oil and butter. The olive oil has a high smoke point, which means it can handle the heat without burning. The butter, on the other hand, lends a rich, creamy flavor that's going to make our ham and muffins absolutely delectable. Now that our pan is prepped, it's time to introduce the star of the show, the Canadian ham. Place the slices of ham into the pan, sizzling in the meld of olive oil and butter. Allow it to cook until it's slightly brown. This process is going to bring out the natural sweetness of the ham, while also giving it a nice crispy texture. Once the ham is cooked to perfection, set it aside. But don't you dare clean that pan just yet. It's soaked in a blend of flavors that are going to make our English muffins taste like they've been kissed by the culinary gods. Place the English muffins in the same pan, cut side down. We're looking for them to absorb some of that delicious ham flavor, while also getting a bit of a toast. This is going to give our muffins a nice crunch, which is the perfect contrast to the soft, runny eggs we'll be adding later. Keep a keen eye on those muffins. We want them to be lightly toasted, not burnt. Once they reach that perfect level of toasty goodness, remove them from the pan. With the ham cooked and the muffins toasted, we're halfway there. Now let's move on to the next step, which is poaching the eggs. But that's a story for another scene. For now, let's savor the anticipation of what's to come. Scene script. Next up, we're going to poach the eggs, an essential part of any Eggs Benedict. Now, if you've never poached an egg before, don't worry, it's not as intimidating as it sounds. Let's start with a medium-sized saucepan filled with water. We're aiming for a gentle simmer here, not a rolling boil. A great poached egg is all about subtlety. While our water is coming to a simmer, let's talk eggs. Fresh eggs are the best for poaching because the whites will hold together better. So if you have the chance to get your hands on some farm-fresh eggs, this is the time to use them. All right, our water is simmering nicely. Now, here's a trick to make your eggs poach perfectly. Create a gentle whirlpool in the pan. You can do this by stirring the water in one direction with a spoon. This whirlpool will help the egg white wrap around the yolk, giving us that beautiful poached egg shape we're after. Now it's time to drop the egg. Crack your egg into a small bowl or cup first, then gently slide it into the simmering whirlpool. The water will swirl the egg white around the yolk. Let it cook for about 3 to 4 minutes depending on how runny you like your yolks. Once your egg is poached to your liking, use a slotted spoon to carefully lift it out of the water. Let it drain on a paper towel to get rid of any excess water. This might be a good time to season it with a pinch of salt and black pepper, but that's up to you. And there you have it, a perfectly poached egg ready to crown our Eggs Benedict. It's got a delicate white exterior, and when we cut into it, we'll find a rich, runny yolk, just waiting to mingle with our Canadian ham and English muffin. Now that we've poached our eggs, it's time to make our homemade Hollandaise sauce. Now, we enter the final stage, preparing our creamy, tangy Hollandaise sauce. Let's begin this culinary adventure by separating the egg yolks from the egg whites. We'll need 4 egg yolks for this recipe. Crack the eggs and gently transfer the yolk from one half of the shell to the other, letting the white slip away. Place your yolks in a glass bowl, ready for the next step. Next, we need to melt our butter. Salted butter lends a beautiful richness to our sauce. You'll need about a cup. Melt it slowly in a saucepan over low heat, stirring occasionally to ensure it doesn't burn. Once it's completely melted, set it aside to cool slightly. Now, back to our egg yolks. Start whisking them vigorously. This is where the magic begins. As you whisk, gradually pour in the melted butter. The key here is patience. Add the butter slowly, whisking all the while to create a smooth and creamy emulsion. Once your mixture is smooth and velvety, it's time for the next step. Place your bowl over a saucepan of simmering water, making sure the bottom of the bowl doesn't touch the water. This gentle heat will cook our sauce without scrambling the eggs. Keep whisking, and in about 5 seconds, your sauce will start to thicken. Remember, patience is key. You want a sauce that's thick enough to coat the back of a spoon, but still pourable. Now, for the final touches. Season your sauce with a pinch of salt and a good grind of black pepper. Then squeeze in the juice of a lemon. This adds a wonderful tang that cuts through the richness of the eggs and butter. Finally, sprinkle in a pinch of dried parsley for that extra pop of flavor. With our Hollandaise sauce ready, it's time to assemble our dish. Now comes the exciting part, assembling our dish. First, we need to create a sturdy base for our Eggs Benedict. Take 1/2 of the slightly browned English muffin and place it on the plate. This toasted muffin will provide a nice crunch and contrast to the soft, creamy elements we'll add on top. Next, lay a slice of the golden brown Canadian ham on the muffin. The ham's smoky flavor will perfectly complement the other ingredients, and its slight crispiness from the pan adds a delightful texture. Now it's time for the star of the show, the poached egg. Gently place it on top of the ham, taking care not to break the yolk. The creaminess of the yolk, once broken, will blend beautifully with the ham and muffin, creating a symphony of flavors. And what's an Eggs Benedict without a generous drizzle of homemade Hollandaise sauce? Pour this velvety, lemony, and buttery sauce over the egg, allowing it to cascade down the sides of the muffin. The sauce ties all the elements together, its tangy flavor cutting through the richness of the other elements. To finish, a sprinkle of dried parsley adds a pop of color and a hint of earthiness. It's also a nod to traditional Eggs Benedict, which often features a sprinkling of fresh herbs. Don't forget about the side of toasted potatoes. Their crispy exterior and fluffy interior are the perfect accompaniment to the creamy Eggs Benedict. Plus, they add a bit of substance to the meal, making it a hearty breakfast or brunch. Assembling this dish is like creating an edible work of art. Each layer adds a new flavor and texture, coming together to form a dish that's as delicious as it is beautiful. And just like that, you have a classic Eggs Benedict right in your own kitchen. Enjoy your meal.